Hello again, friends. Are you ready to hear the rest of the tale? Then let us commence. So we now get to the story that was promised. The story we've been telling, such as it is. A tale of how technically 5 strangers met under the most terrifying and unbelievable circumstances that you're probably ever going to hear about. And if they aren't, they will do until that story comes along. And how those fellows all became fast friends. Or at least something like that. About how 2 beings in one body, an assassin, a haunted suit of armor, and an Eladrin cleric all got pulled into this knotted-up ball of mess. About a roughed-up group of ragtags who found themselves in the center of... why don't we back up a little again? Yes, let's start at the beginning. A beginning, and dive right in. Have you ever found yourself in a really tight spot? I'm talking about an absolutely full-on sideways situation that will give you, and future versions of you, traumatic flashbacks. Well, imagine that situation had a massive baby with your worst nightmares and you're still not even in the same twisted neighborhood as the situation our heroes found themselves in it. Let's call it the start of all this. Nothingness, that's where it begins, then slowly surfacing through a thick slog of murky unconsciousness as dark and dreamless as death, lost in numbness and half-remembered sensations, and then suddenly... awake! Our heroes are shocked into consciousness, finding themselves naked, except for Regal because, he's a haunted suit of armor, and unarmed in strange alien and horrific stasis tanks, not having even a granule of a hint as to how they found themselves there. Try to imagine that for a moment. One moment, you're carrying along as you always have, eating dinner, looking up at the stars and wondering what it's all about, putting your head down on your pillow for what you think is going to be a normal night's rest, and then waking up naked in antiseptic fluid with strangers in a strange place and no idea how you got there or why you're there, or maybe worst of all, what happened to you in the meantime. Not much more harrowing a story you're going to hear, that's for certain. Gives me the grave shivers, that does. Moving along. The room they're in is unfamiliar, full of strange crates and equipment, and there are 2 people speaking to them that seem to be friendly. Did these people release them? Or worse, are they the ones who put them in the tank? The 2 people who released them, a tabaxi male and a human female, say in as affable a way the absolutely balmy situation allows, they would explain everything soon. But unfortunately, pretty much right after those soothing pleasantries were exchanged, the amiable rescuers were immediately murdered savagely by some sort of guards, and their hellhound who appeared out of nowhere. Weaponless and on their own, the naked heroes nevertheless dove into the fray against the armed men and demon dog and, after a brutal battle, dispatched the attackers. But not before Braze was incapacitated and then, much to everyone's surprise, suddenly somehow was replaced by Minko. There wasn't time enough to spare for explanations, however, as they were in, as we mentioned previously, a very tight spot. Moving, and I can't stress this enough, naked through the strange halls of wherever they had maybe been imprisoned or experimented on, or both, the heroes continued through the strange and cramped bulkheads. Were they in an underground laboratory of some kind? A prison? One of the 9 hells? They didn't have enough information to even approach a guess. They didn't even have enough clothes to do much of anything either. The heroes continued to battle their way out of wherever they were, eventually finding their equipment. So, at least they took care of that whole naked in a hostile place problem they were dealing with. Eventually, after picking up the pace once realizing that wherever they found themselves in was under attack and then solving a bit of a puzzle, the heroes ended up in an escape pod and ejected over Sigil during a crazy attack and/or battle between 2 very different foes. One was a mixed collective of all sorts, your paladins and warlocks and celestial types, and the other appearing to be fiendish in origin. Although it was noted that devils and demons seemed to be working together, which was more than curious to say the least. Soon what they realized was their prison. A huge cargo airship crashed over the city as they floated gently down to the weird and wild open arms of Sigil. Much to their continued consternation, the heroes found their escape pod's landing trajectory put them snug in the center of the very unsavory slags, a part of Sigil that is a brutal wasteland sundered when a portal opened hundreds of years ago and let in a large portion of the Blood War for a time, leaving destruction and chaos in its wake, even to this day. I mean, this place has it all. Cannibals, ooze, portals. That thing where demonic fire erupts suddenly from the ground and either burns you to death instantly or transports you to a random layer of the abyss. I must say, I don't like how this turn of events seems to be going for our heroes. I don't like it at all.